What is happening, sports fans? Welcome back to the Roger Report. We've got a packed show for you today, kicking off with Domonique Foxworth's bold prediction about Aaron Rodgers and the Minnesota Vikings defense potentially capitalizing on his turnover woes. He's been seeing some ugly throws, and Foxworth thinks the Vikings are poised to take advantage. Stick around, you do not want to miss this. Then, we dive into Pete Prisco's surprisingly lukewarm C-plus grade for Aaron Rodgers after his first 3 games with the Steelers, questioning if the legendary QB is living up to his own sky-high standards. Is this the Rodgers we all know and love, or is a C-plus the new standard for a 41-year-old legend? Stay tuned. Get ready for Harrison Smith's insights as the Vikings safety discusses the unique challenge of playing overseas and anticipates another intense clash with Aaron Rodgers. He's seen this matchup before, and he's got thoughts on what it takes to face a veteran quarterback like Rodgers in a foreign territory. You won't want to miss this perspective. And finally, we'll hear directly from Aaron Rodgers himself as he praises the formidable Vikings defense and defensive coordinator Brian Flores ahead of their big game. He knows what they're capable of, and he's not holding back his respect. Stick around, you do not want to miss this. Hit that like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Aaron Rodgers' turnover woes, a Viking feast. Steelers veteran quarterback Aaron Rodgers is showing a decidedly mixed bag of tricks early in the season. While he's delivered some clutch moments, including 4 touchdown passes in their season opener, his recent performances have raised eyebrows. Former NFL cornerback Domonique Foxworth, speaking on ESPN's Get Up, is sounding the alarm, predicting that the Minnesota Vikings defense is uniquely positioned to exploit Rodgers' recent struggles with turnovers. Foxworth pointed to Rodgers' history of interceptions, noting that the current count of 3 doesn't even capture all the passes that should have been picked off. He highlighted a few instances, like an end-zone interception against Seattle that was tipped by a teammate, and another forced throw in a late-game deficit. While some miscues can be attributed to random football luck or desperate situations, Foxworth argues that Rodgers' hallmark of ball security seems to be faltering. The Vikings, fresh off a game where they forced 3 fumbles and snagged 2 interceptions against the Bengals, present a daunting challenge. With defensive coordinator Brian Flores known for his aggressive schemes, Rodgers and the Steelers' offense will need to be exceptionally sharp to avoid handing opportunities to an opportunistic Vikings squad, especially in their upcoming international matchup. Fans are buzzing about whether Rodgers' turnover proneness is a temporary blip or a sign of age catching up. Analysts are debating if the Vikings' defensive prowess will be too much for the veteran QB. But will Rodgers' praise for the Vikings' defense be enough to prepare him for the onslaught? Next, we'll get Pete Prisco's surprising grade for Rodgers' performance so far. Aaron Rodgers' C-plus grade, a harsh reality check. After a tumultuous start to his tenure with the Jets and a full year sidelined, Aaron Rodgers' arrival in Pittsburgh was met with a wide range of expectations. While he's shown flashes of his former brilliance, steering the Steelers through crucial moments and solidifying the quarterback position, his early season performance is drawing critical analysis. CBS Sports analyst Pete Prisco has handed Rodgers a C grade through the first 3 games, a mark he considers lackluster by the legendary quarterback's own lofty standards. Prisco elaborated on CBS Sports HQ, stating that, while a C-plus might seem generous compared to other quarterbacks, it falls short when measured against the consistent excellence fans have come to expect from Rodgers. This evaluation becomes even more complex given the Steelers' offensive struggles, including a weak run game and an inconsistent offensive line that often leaves Rodgers under pressure. Despite these challenges, Rodgers has managed a respectable 65.1% completion rate, 586 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, resulting in a 97.3 passer rating. However, the overall offensive output has been inconsistent, relying heavily on Rodgers to carry the team, a burden that wasn't anticipated. The question remains, can Rodgers elevate his play, or is this level of performance the new normal for a 41-year-old signal caller? Fans are divided, with some defending Rodgers amidst the offensive struggles and others agreeing with Prisco's assessment. Analysts are dissecting whether the offensive line's performance is hindering Rodgers or if he's truly showing signs of decline. But is that C-plus grade the whole story, or just a piece of the puzzle? Next, we'll hear from Vikings safety Harrison Smith on the unique challenges of playing overseas and facing Rodgers again. Harrison Smith, overseas challenge and Rodgers rematch. As the Minnesota Vikings prepare to face the Pittsburgh Steelers in Dublin, Ireland, veteran safety Harrison Smith shared his perspective on the unique challenges of playing international games and the anticipation of another showdown with quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Smith acknowledged that playing overseas brings a different set of logistical and environmental factors that teams must adapt to. Beyond the travel and time difference, the atmosphere and the unfamiliar surroundings can add an extra layer of complexity to game preparation. He also touched upon the familiarity of facing Aaron Rodgers, a quarterback he's encountered multiple times throughout his career. Smith highlighted the respect he has for Rodgers' ability to dissect defenses and the need for the Vikings' defense to be prepared for anything. He emphasized the importance of communication and execution against a veteran quarterback who, despite recent turnover concerns, can still make all the necessary throws. The Vikings' defense, which has shown impressive form, will need to be at its best to contain Rodgers and secure a victory on foreign soil. Fans are excited about the international spectacle and the strategic battle between Smith's savvy defense and Rodgers' veteran leadership. Analysts are weighing in on how the overseas factor might impact player performance and game strategy. But what does Aaron Rodgers himself think about facing this tough Vikings defense and their coordinator? Get ready for Rodgers' direct praise for Brian Flores and the Vikings defense, coming up next. Rodgers praises Vikings defense, a lot they can throw at you. Aaron Rodgers is gearing up for his 32nd career matchup against the Minnesota Vikings, this time in an international setting in Dublin, Ireland. Reflecting on past encounters, particularly a tough loss to the Vikings last season, Rodgers expressed a deep respect for their defense and its coordinator, Brian Flores. Speaking to the media, Rodgers acknowledged the Vikings' knack for bringing pressure and disguising their defensive schemes, making them a difficult opponent to prepare for. He recalled their Week 13 clash last season, where his then-Jets team fell 23-17, with Rodgers throwing 3 interceptions and facing constant pressure. He noted the continuity and schematic brilliance of the Vikings' defense, praising their veteran players and versatile pass rushers like Jonathan Greenard, Dallas Turner, and Andrew Van Ginkel, who can both rush the passer and drop into coverage. Rodgers specifically mentioned veteran safety Harrison Smith as a key disruptive force. He also reserved special praise for defensive coordinator Brian Flores, calling him a phenomenal coach and expressing his belief that Flores deserves another head coaching opportunity. Football enthusiasts are dissecting Rodgers' comments, seeing them as a sign of respect for a formidable opponent. Pundits are analyzing whether Rodgers' acknowledgement of the Vikings' defensive strengths is a strategic move or genuine admiration, and whether it foreshadows a challenging game for the Steelers. Rodgers knows the Vikings' defense is tough, but how will his Steelers' offense perform against them? We'll wrap up with a quick recap of all today's top stories and your full call to action. That's all for today's deep dive on the Rodger Report. We covered Domonique Foxworth's prediction on Aaron Rodgers and the Vikings, Pete Prisco's C-plus grade for Rodgers, Harrison Smith's insights on playing overseas, and Aaron Rodgers' praise for the Vikings' defense. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell so you never miss an update, leave a comment with your thoughts, and follow us on all social media platforms. We'll see you next time.